Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to talk about media. Do you know what media is? Take a second to think about that. Think about where you've seen it or where you've heard it or even what it does. So I'd like to give you a definition of media. Media is the name that we give to many forms of communication that send or carry messages. For example, there are things like TV, radio, internet, magazines, and even newspapers that give us all kinds of information. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a magazine. A magazine is a printed collection of writings that is published for a certain number of times in a year. Many of the magazines are published monthly or even weekly. There are so many magazines that you could even think about, like Time, there's also Newsweek, and even Jet Magazine. Magazines typically contain articles or pictures and letters that talk about specific topics or a certain paper. The next thing that I'd like to talk to you about is a newspaper. Who's ever seen a newspaper before? Newspapers can be found everywhere. In Kansas City, there's the Call, there's also the Washington Post, and even the Kansas City Star. Newspapers are really important. Newspapers are papers that are printed and sold usually every day or weekly and contain a lot of information about recent events, articles, opinions, and even features in advertising. So newspapers are really important because they offer so much to the community. Another really cool one is called the radio. Many of you listen to the radio every single day. There's many stations like Hot 103 Jams and even 95.7 The Vibe. The radio is not only good for music, but it's good for a lot of things. So radio is a way of sending sound or other information through the air. The information is carried by invisible radio waves. So these are things that we don't even see. And radio waves are used for broadcasting or sending out radio and television programs. Many of the ones that I mentioned to you are things like Hot 103 Jams or KPRS, Magic 107.3, KCUR, and even 95.7 The Vibe. Another really important type of media is the television. Many people watch televisions every day, or a lot of times people watch TV on the weekends. So TV is really cool. And it's not just good for cartoons, but TV sends us many different forms of communication. Television or TV is a system for sending moving pictures and sound from one place to another. It's one of the most important and most popular forms of communication because many people take part in it. TV programs provide news, information, and entertainment to people all over the world. Some really good examples of news stations or television channels that you may know of include MSNBC, Fox News, MTV, BET, Disney, and even Nickelodeon. So when you watch all of those cartoons or any of the news, you're getting information that helps you learn more about what's going on. Another really important aspect of media is called social media. Many times people use social media to communicate. Social media includes things like Facebook or TikTok, YouTube. There's even Instagram and Snapchat. All of those different ways all of those different platforms are ways in which we are able to communicate with one another. We're able to share our opinion or share something in the news that we're reading about or something that we're interested or strongly passionate about. So social media refers to the websites and apps that allow people to interact with others or to create and share content. So it's as simple as you liking a status that someone put on Facebook, or your parents liking some kind of status, or even sharing some kind of information that they've seen or heard on their social media page. Next, let's talk a little bit about advertising. Advertising is really important. So when we advertise, we are simply referring to anything that draws our attention towards something, and it's usually displayed in many ways. People advertise to inform, they advertise to persuade, they advertise to change behavior, and to put forward a point of view. In many cases, people advertise on the internet, people advertise on their social media. A good example is including like YouTube. So if you've ever watched YouTube before, I'm sure you've noticed in the middle of your videos that you're looking at, there's these ads that pop up. They may range for like 10 to 20 seconds. Those are good examples of trying to get you to do something. So when people put out advertisements, they're basically trying to get to inform you about something, persuade you to do something, or they may want you to change your behavior or put forward some kind of point of view. Let's take a second to look at all of these different ways in which people advertise things to us. The first way is to inform. Let's look at this ad here. If we look closely at it, it tells us a lot about Kansas City Public Schools and what is going on and how Kansas City Public Schools are doing well. So to inform means to give you information about something. As you can see in the picture, there are graduates there, and it's telling us about the experiences that students typically have in Kansas City Public Schools. Let's talk about persuade. So to persuade someone means that you are trying to get them to do something. So if you look at the two pictures that are here, the first one is about Price Chopper. And I noticed that there are different prices for different foods. So if companies are putting out ads for pricing, that may try to get us to persuade us to maybe shop there or buy our food from there. The next ad talks about the 2020 census. So in that ad, that's basically trying to get us to fill out the census and be counted. The next one is to talk about changing behavior. So if you look here, there seems to be a picture of a plane, but that's not really a plane on there too. It's a plane that's made out of like a can. So, and then if you look at the bottom, there's a picture of a recycling bin. If you notice, it's really important that we try to recycle. So if you look at the caption, it says, now you know what your empty beverage containers can become. So this is trying to get us to try and recycle more, because this is what will happen, is that we can ultimately create other things because of our recycling habits. So yes, we want to change our behavior. And then the last thing here is to put forward a point of view. So if you look at this particular picture, you notice that there's a dog and he has on a mask, and the very top of the ad says foster homes needed. The person that created this ad wants us to foster all kinds of other animals. We know that there are several animals all across the streets that need homes. So it's important that we take the time to foster animals to get them off the streets and into loving homes. Now, let's play a game. Can you guess what these different forms of media are trying to do? Let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this advertisement right here. As you can see, this is the title of it, says Entitled Learning, Don't Miss a Thing. What do you think that this one is trying to get us to do? Are you still thinking about it? Hopefully you were able to see that this particular advertisement is trying to persuade us to do something. It literally tells us don't miss a thing, and it has some kind of horn at the top, so it's giving us some kind of announcement, persuading us to not miss out. So essentially there's going to be so much information that's coming out, we don't want to miss out on it. So Entitled Learning wants us to be able to join along and see what they're trying to promote. This one, let's see what this one says for us. So this one has a heading called Black History Month, and it says the 2021 Sankofa Oratory Contest. What do you think that this particular ad is trying to do for us? Is it trying to persuade us, or inform us about something, or change our perspective, or even put forward a point of view? Hopefully you said that this one is trying to inform us. This one gives a specific date, and it tells us some various things that are able to help us know that there's a lot of information being put forward, and that there are things that we can do in order to be entered into the Sankofa Oratory Contest. Let's look at this one. This one says, Your Voice Matters. And there's a picture of a girl kind of in front of the background, and it's a lot of red, white, and blue. This one came out around the time of the election. So I would say that this particular one is trying to get us to do something, to act. So it's persuading us to do something like vote or have a voice in many of the matters that are going on. I wonder what this one is trying to tell us. Let's look at it. It says middle school virtual fair, or learn about the different middle school options available. It gives us a specific date, and it gives us a time, and it tells us where to register. So I would say that this particular one is trying to inform us about something. It's letting us know that there's going to be some kind of event that's taking place, and that it has a specific date, and that we want you there, or they want you there. Last but not least, let's look at this particular one. I'm sure you've seen this one everywhere. It says click it or ticket, and there's a picture with a person who's sitting down and they have their seatbelt on. I would say that this one is trying to persuade us to do something. It's trying to persuade us to put on our seatbelt when we drive. The reason for that is if we don't put on our seatbelt, what could possibly happen? We might get into an accident, we might hurt someone, or we could even be hurt. So this is a campaign that lets us know that we need to put on our seatbelt, or the police who come around may potentially give us a ticket. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you learned so much about the different types of media. I look forward to seeing you next week. Until next time.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for first and second graders. I am so happy you're here today. Let's learn something new in math. Today, we're going to be talking about partitioning equal shares in a bunch of different types of shapes. All you need is 2 pieces of paper and a pencil or something you can draw with. It can be a crayon, a marker, whatever you have nearby. All right, let's get started. We have our I can statement today. It says I can partition shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. Well, that sounds really similar to what we did last week. Last week, we were partitioning 2, 3, and 4 equal shares just in rectangles. But this week, we're going to do a bunch of different shapes. So if we look at our I can statement, we can be reminded about that word partition. Partition is when we break something up into groups or separate it, okay? So I'm going to write the word separate or put in groups. Then we also have shapes. We're going to talk about different shapes today, but we know a shape is something that has sides that are all closed in. And then we have shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. And equal shares when something's broken apart equally. So each size of the part is the same. So each part is the same. All right, now last week we looked at this anchor chart and it told us how we can break apart a rectangle into equal shares. So right here we have one whole, and this doesn't mean that there's any parts to it. It's just one whole shape. Then we have halves, or 1/2. It's broken apart to where both sides are equal. Then we have thirds, or 1/3, and that means that each one of these, there's 3 parts and they're all the same size. And then we also have fourths, so that means each piece is 1/4 of our rectangle. All right, so we can break apart other shapes into equal shares as well. If I'm looking at my halves right here, I know I can break apart my halves. I can break apart a square into a half. I can break apart a triangle. I can break apart a circle. And I can even break apart a star. Now, are there other shapes I can break apart into halves? Absolutely. These are just the ones I wanted to show you as an example. Can you think of a different one that may be a shape you could draw and break into 1/2? All right, now let's talk about thirds. So we have 1/3. We can put a rhombus into 3 equal portions, or 3 equal parts. We can partition a triangle into 3 equal parts, and we can do the same thing with a square. And there are definitely some other shapes as well. All right, and then for fourths, I have my examples. I have a square, of course. I did a rectangle, but I did it in a different way, just so you could see it. The rectangle's turned on its side. And then also, again, we have a hexagon. Oh, and we have a hexagon right over here too. I think I called that a rhombus when I was setting it down. That's silly. Definitely a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Whoops. All right, so now that we have our different examples in equal shares today, I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do. So go ahead and grab that piece of paper. Now that you have your piece of paper, you are going to fold it into thirds. So think about how we can fold it into thirds. Looking at this rectangle, looks a lot like our piece of paper, right? We've practiced it before where we roll it up like a little burrito and then seal the sides. This doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to be drawing a shape in each one. So you want enough space to be able to do that. All right, now that you have your piece of paper ready to go, I'm going to tell you what kind of shapes we're going to draw in each one. So I'm going to give you a little challenge for each part of your paper. And so here's our first one. I want you to see if you can identify which shape isn't partitioned or separated into 2 equal shares. All right, are you ready? Can you see which shape is not in 2 equal shares? You're right, it's this one right here in the middle. This is what we call a rhombus. I think that's maybe why I said rhombus earlier. It was on my brain. I want you to draw a rhombus. It looks just kind of like drawing a diamond right here on your paper in that first equal share, 1/3 of your rectangle. And once you've drawn your rhombus, I want to see if you can make it and put 2 equal shares. All right. Does yours look like this? It could even look like this. Or maybe yours looks like this. Or this. All right. Let's try our next one. Let's see if I can trick you. All right, so which one of these shapes is not in 3 equal shares? You're right here, our square does not have 3 equal shares. Can you draw a square in your second part of your paper and put it into 3 equal shares? Go ahead and do that now. Maybe your square looks like this. Maybe your square looks like this. Either way, you did it right. All right, let's see what our last shape is going to be. All right, here is our last shape. Can you see the one that's not in 4 equal shares? You're right, our circle does not have 4 equal shares. Can you draw a circle in the last part of your paper and put it into 4 equal shares? Does yours look like this? All right, awesome job. All right, now you can either use the back of the piece of paper that you just drew your shapes on, or you can get a new one and fold it into thirds again. I have a challenge for you today where you are going to draw different shapes and put them into either 1/2, 1/3, or 1/4. And I want you to color each one part of each, kind of like my examples from earlier. Now that you have your new piece of paper folded into thirds, or if you're just doing it on the back of the first one, whatever works, I want you to draw these 3 shapes. So in the first part, so in 1/3 of our rectangle on our paper, we're going to draw a circle. Sometimes circles are really hard to draw, but if you take your time, or you can find something maybe that's a circle to trace, it'll turn out just okay. All right, in that second part of our paper, I want you to draw a square. And again, remember that our square has equal sides and equal lengths, so try and make it as similar as possible on each side. And then in that last box, I want you to draw a rhombus. Remember, a rhombus is just like drawing a diamond or a square on its side. One of my sides is a little longer. Now that you have these 3 shapes, you're going to write some numbers at the bottom for me. You're going to be coloring each one part of each shape today. So I want you to write at the bottom 1/2 under the circle, 1/3 under the square, and 1/4 under the rhombus. Once you're done writing that, you're going to need to draw that so that each shape represents the fraction that you put below it. So for example, if I have a circle in 1/2, I can draw a line right down the middle. It could go up and down as well. It doesn't have to go across. It could even go from side to side. And then I colored 1/2 of my shape. So the other half just stayed white. So that's what you're going to do with your circle right here. And then you're going to draw your square with 3 equal shares. And then you're going to color 1/3 of your square. You're going to then take your rhombus and put it into 4 equal shares and color 1/4 of your shape. I'm so excited to see your shapes when you are all done. All right, that's all I have for you today. You guys did a great job learning about partitioning different shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. You guys even got a little fraction work there at the end. You guys are ready to go. All right, thank you so much for coming today. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this was Math Mania. I'll see you next time.
Hello and welcome to Science with Miss Allen. I'm glad you joined me. Last week we learned that wind and water can make changes to land over time through processes called weathering, erosion, and deposition. Another way our Earth or the land around us can change is from the occurrence of an event called a natural disaster or a natural hazard. There are 2 categories of natural hazards: geological and meteorological. Geological are events that are caused by the movement of earth or land. Meteorological are events caused by extreme weather and storms. I have a quick game for us. I'm going to show you a picture of a hazard or a disaster. I want you to decide, is it geological or meteorological? Is it related to the movement or change of earth, or is it related to extreme weather? An earthquake. Is an earthquake a geological or a meteorological event? Yes, geological. The earth is shaking. It is geological. A drought. Is a drought related to the weather or to geology? Yes, a drought is related to the weather. It is when there is a lack of precipitation or a lack of rain. A landslide. Is a landslide earth-related or weather-related? Geological, yes. A hurricane. Is a hurricane related to earth or weather? A hurricane is an extreme storm, so yes, it is a meteorological hazard. An avalanche. Would an avalanche be meteorological or geological? An avalanche would be geological because it's the shifting or the movement of land. Tornado. Yes, a tornado is meteorological because it is an extreme windstorm. And our last one, volcanic eruption. You guessed it, it is geological. It is earth and land related, a volcanic eruption. These natural disasters or natural hazards can make changes to the way our earth looks. It can also make changes to man-made or human-made things like collapsing buildings, power outages, fallen trees, or flooding. So what can we do to prevent or to prepare for these events? How can humans respond to these events? We can predict the events, we can assess risk, and we can prepare for these events. Prediction is determining when this event might happen. Risk assessment is determining what might happen if it does occur. Preparation is determining what do we need to do or what do we need to get to prepare to be safe in case these events do happen. I have 2 activities for us to do today. The first one is creating an emergency kit. An emergency kit is a way that you and your family can prepare for any natural hazard or disaster. It's a way that you can make sure that you have everything you need to be safe in case one of these events occur. The first thing you'll need is a container or a bag. Next, you'll need to add to that container or bag food that doesn't need to be prepared and food that won't go bad. So non-perishable food, things like crackers, cans of beans, different foods that don't have an expiration date that is soon. You'll need a light source because one of the risks of a natural hazard or event is that the power might go out. Maybe you have been at your house when there's been a power outage. You can use a flashlight, so add a flashlight to your kit and make sure you have extra batteries. You need a blanket in your emergency kit just in case it gets cold. If you are in the basement for a tornado or a different disaster like that, you have something to keep you warm. A first aid kit is necessary for our emergency kit. And then games, in case you need to stay where you are for a while and need something to entertain. Next, we're going to do a little experiment where we're going to simulate or pretend that there's a hurricane or a tornado. A tornado and a hurricane are both extreme types of weather that have lots of wind. What you'll need for this experiment is paper, and then optional is tape and straws.
All right, so let's get started on our experiment. We have our supplies, paper, tape, and a straw. For our first scenario, we are going to build a building or a house using just paper. That's it. Build a structure out of just paper. Once you are finished, you are going to use the straw to blow air onto the house or the building, simulating a meteorological hazard such as a tornado or a hurricane. What do you predict is going to happen when we blow air onto our paper structures? Most likely, you're right, the house or the building will fall over. So test that out and see what happens. For our second scenario, we are going to build a paper building again, but this time you are invited to use tape to secure the structure and give it more support. Again, let's simulate a strong windstorm around the house or the building. What do you notice? How does the house or the building hold up differently? This experiment is similar to how individuals prepare for natural hazards in real life. We can predict certain areas where tornadoes or hurricanes are likely to occur. We know that the risk is that buildings could be damaged if these events do occur. So, we prepare to prevent damage by building homes and structures with strong supports to withstand the strong winds that come with these hazards.
Thanks for joining me this week while we learned a little bit more about natural disasters, natural hazards, and ways that we can prepare for these events. I will see you next time.
Hello, this is Miss Yang, and this is the Chinese lesson for Grade 1 and Grade 2 students. Today, we are going to go over family members in Chinese. What you will need today is a notebook and a pencil if you need to take notes. Okay, let's get ready to learn. our can-do statement for today. I can understand when someone talks about family members in Chinese. I can tell family members in Chinese. I can ask and answer questions about how many members there are in a family. Let's learn how to say some family members in Chinese. 请听我说，请听我说。儿子，儿子，爸爸，爸爸，妈妈，妈妈，妈妈，女儿，女儿，哥哥，弟弟，哥哥，弟弟。They are the son in the family. We say 儿子，儿子。姐姐，姐姐，妹妹，妹妹。They are the daughter in the family. 姐姐，妹妹。Great. Daughter, we say 女儿，女儿。Grandparent, father side. 爷爷，爷爷。奶奶，奶奶。Grandfather, father side. 爷爷。Grandmother, from your father's side. 奶奶，奶奶。Let's see grandparent from our mother's side. 外公，外公，外婆，外婆。Now, let's review. 儿子，爸爸，妈妈，请跟我说 Please say with 杨老师。儿子，爸爸，妈妈，请跟我说 Please say with me。妈妈，女儿，女儿 daughter。哥哥，弟弟，哥哥，弟弟。They are the son. We say 儿子，儿子。姐姐，妹妹，姐姐，妹妹。They are the daughter. We say 女儿，女儿。Excellent. Let's say father side. Grandfather. 爷爷，爷爷。Father side. Grandmother. 奶奶，奶奶。Mother. Grandfather. 外公，外公。Mother's side. Grandmother. 外婆，外婆。Great. Now, let's do together. 他们是谁 ？Who are they? 他是哥哥，他是弟弟。他们是谁？她是妹妹，她是妹妹。她是姐姐，她是姐姐。Let's try. 爸爸的爸爸是，爸爸的妈妈是。Do you have answer? 爸爸的爸爸是， 爷爷。爸爸的妈妈是奶奶。Father's father, we say 爷爷。Father's mother, we say 奶奶。爷爷，奶奶。Great. Now, let's try together. 他是谁？ Who is he? 他是爸爸。他是谁？他是妈妈。Great. Let's see this picture. There are 3 people in the picture. Who are they? 他们是谁？ They are 爷爷、爸爸、儿子。Now, let's learn a new word. 口。When do we use 口? 口 is a measure word for family member. If you say 3 people in a family, 3口人 4 people in a family, 4口人 5 people in a family, 5口人 We need to use 口 when we say the family member. How many people are there in your family? We can ask, 你家有几口人? Let's try again. 你家有几口人? Let's see this picture. 1、2、3、4. We can answer, 我家有4口人。我家有4口人。Great. Let's see this picture. How many people are there in his family? 他家有几口人？他家有几口人？ Let's count together. 1口人、2口人、3口人。We say, 他家有3口人。Let's try one more time. 他家有3口人。Great. See this picture. 他家有几口人？ Let's count together. 1、2、3、4、5、6. We say, 他家有6口人。他家有6口人。Great. Let's see, we have a picture here. Now let's think about 他家有几口人？他们是谁？ Who are they? Can you name these people from the perspective of the baby in the middle? Let's try together. 爷爷、奶奶、爸爸、妈妈、哥哥、姐姐、小狗。Great! Now it's your turn. Please tell 杨老师，他家有几口人？对，他家有6口人。Now, please tell 杨老师，他家有几口人？对，他家有3口人。Now think about question. How many people are there in your family? 你家有几口人？Great! Now, let's see our assignment today. Practice family members in Chinese. Practice asking and answering 你家有几口人? We have just learned with your parent. 爸爸、妈妈、哥哥、姐姐、弟弟、妹妹。你家有几口人？我家有4口人。Great. That concludes our lesson for today. It has been my pleasure having you in this class. And Miss Yang, see you next week. 再见。
Hotep Scholars, I'm Professor Horton, and this is STEM for 2nd grade. We've been talking all about matter. We said that there are 3 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. We started off by transforming matter by cooling its temperature. We filled a plastic bag with water. At that point, it was a liquid, and then we put it in the freezer and transformed it into a solid. The next experiment we looked at transformed matter from a liquid into a gas. And our most recent experiment took matter from a liquid into a solid when we made slime. Now, for today's activity, we're going to take another look at how to transform matter using temperature, but this time we're turning up the heat. The goal of today's activity is that you're able to demonstrate understanding of transforming matter by adjusting the temperature. For today's activity, we'll be transforming matter from a liquid into a solid by using heat. All right, join me in the lab. I think you'll be in for a treat. All right, scholars, for this activity, we're going to need brownie mix, vegetable oil, 2 eggs, a mixing bowl, and measuring cup. The first step is to empty the brownie mix into the mixing bowl. At this point, our matter is considered a solid. Step 2 is to empty 2/3 of vegetable oil into the brownie mix. In this case, the vegetable oil is matter while it's in the liquid state. Next, we will empty 1/4 cup of water, which is also a liquid, into the brownie mix, and the 2 eggs. There's 1 and 2. At this point, we're going to go ahead and mix in all of our ingredients. And as we mix, our brownie batter turns into a liquid. So at this point, the matter is a liquid. You can tell because it has a size, meaning it can be measured, but it does not hold a shape. Next, we're going to spray our baking pan, and we will pour our brownie mix into the baking pan. Once again, at this point, our matter is a liquid. Go ahead and make sure that it is evenly spread in the pan. Then we're going to put it into the oven. I'm going to put mine into the oven for 25 minutes, baked at 350 degrees. So we will be again using temperature, but this time we're turning the temperature up to turn our matter into a solid. And at this point, once we take it out of the oven, our matter is a solid. All right, scholars, welcome back. So get with your parents. Make sure you have their permission and their assistance. Make sure you're very careful with the oven, that you have your parents' permission and their assistance. Illustrate each step of this experiment along the way in your launch log. Make a special note of each state of matter as you progress through the experiment. All right, scholars, that's all I have for you today. Have a good day and enjoy your brownies.
We are happy to have you visit our family here at Northeast Middle School. My name is Principal Schriever, and I am the principal here at Northeast Middle School. We serve students in the 7th and 8th grade in the historic Northeast neighborhood in Kansas City.
Welcome to Northeast Middle, the home of the mighty Titans.
Welcome to Northeast Middle. Transitioning to middle school is exciting, but it can also be scary. But that's what we're here for. I teach students success skills, a class where students get in touch with their emotions and learn how to stay on task in their courses.
Hello, my name is Mirna Naya. I am the parent liaison at Northeast Middle School. I communicate with parents, legal guardians regarding school information, events, school advisory committee, and more. I love interacting with students' families every day.
Hello and welcome. My name is Christine Dismay, and I teach Geography and Economics here at Northeast Middle School. We have a safe and nurturing environment in our classrooms. Your student will enjoy learning here.
Hi, I'm Laura Culp. I'm an 8th grade math teacher. Welcome to 8th grade. We offer advanced courses in all core subjects. Learning here is fun and rigorous because we care about our students and their academic experience. Northeast Middle School students are successful and prepared for high school.
AVID, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, is a college and career readiness program. Students develop the skills they need to be successful in college starting in middle school. Most students continue their AVID course throughout high school with the same group of peers.
Hi, I'm Mr. Fleming, and I teach PE and Health at Northeast Middle School, and we have a wide range of electives including choir, band, orchestra, visual arts, creative writing, and much more.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Moore, and I teach 7th, 8th grade choir. Our goal is to ensure our students get the very best academic opportunities. Our students maintain a well-rounded experience.
Northeast Middle School is truly a diverse environment. We have scholars from all over the world, and we have as many as 30 languages spoken in our building at any given time. To celebrate the diversity in our building, we host an international festival so our scholars can get a true taste of the world.
Hi, I'm Ben Jonte. I'm the art teacher at Northeast Middle School. Project Lead the Way, one of our electives, provides our students with hands-on, real-world learning. This will give them experience in growing industries like computer science, design, and robotics.
Hello, I'm Ms. Shepard, and I'm the athletic director here at Northeast Middle School. Here at Northeast Middle School, we offer variety sports for boys and girls, including basketball, track and field, soccer, wrestling, swimming, cross country, flag football, cheerleading, and volleyball.
Thank you for taking the time to visit with us today here at Northeast Middle School. To learn more about our campus or to request a personal tour, please call 816-418-3400. We look forward to sharing with you more of the exciting things occurring at Northeast Middle School.
Welcome to Foreign Language Academy, Kansas City, one and only emerging school for Chinese and Spanish.
We are so happy to have you visit FLA. I'm Dr. Joel Ramsdale, the principal of Foreign Language Academy. We are the region's only international baccalaureate school that is authorized as a primary years program, as well as being in candidacy for a middle years program. We look forward to sharing more about our school with you.
Bienvenidos al cuarto grado. Immersion is the best way for a student to become fluent in a foreign language.
At FLA, we have a strong sense of community. Our parent-teacher organization meets monthly and organizes different events and activities such as Arts Night, where students can showcase their artwork and also enjoy live performances by students.
Each year, the 8th grade Spanish student fundraise to help support a trip to Costa Rica.
Children at FLA have an advantage, learning English as well as a foreign language. This will prepare them for not only being in the classroom, but beyond.
When our families join FLA, they select a school for their kids that is elementary and middle school. Our students are able to experience the full immersion program since kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
Thank you for joining us on this virtual tour. We appreciate it. If you would like to learn more about Foreign Language Academy or schedule a personal tour, please call our school phone number, which is 816-418-6000. We look forward to sharing all of the great things that we're doing here at the Foreign Language Academy with you.
I am Lincoln Middle.
At Lincoln Middle School, students discover their talents and passions, where teachers plant the seeds of lifelong learning.
I am Lincoln Middle.
Where excellence is nurtured. Students develop the skills to be successful in school, career, and beyond.
Je suis Lincoln Middle.
Lincoln Middle is the public school where your child will thrive and grow. Open a world of possibilities. Apply today. Learn more at enrollkc.org/Lincoln Middle.